A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Let's all be seated. We're going to have a 30 minutes conversation with Mr. Eugene Kasperskys, a very exciting conversation, so please, let's settle down. Let me introduce him and then I'll call him up the stage and we'll start the conversation. Eugene Kasperskys is a world-renowned cybersecurity expert and a very successful entrepreneur. He's the CEO of Kaspersky Labs. Now, Kaspersky Labs is probably one of the few companies that operates in virtually every country and territory in the world, about 200 of them. And it's also one of the fastest growing IT security companies in the world. Please join me and let's put our hands together to welcome Mr. Eugene Kasperskys.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So the most strong people are still here in the room.
I know that.
Okay, thank you.
I know that it's been a long day. It's already after 6, so
Survived.
You have survived, and we'll keep it to 30 minutes as planned. I know that Eugene does not need much introduction, although I did a very brief one. But I wanted to ask him to start by telling us a little bit about his journey, which now is about 30 years journey in the area of cybersecurity. So why don't you start by telling us briefly about that?
Yes, actually, I started my career as a cybersecurity engineer 30 years ago by incident with a computer virus which hit my computer, so that was just a chance to me to change my life. So for a few years I was just collecting computer viruses like some people collect butterflies, so what else? So I was collecting viruses and I was slowly developing, step by step developing my technologies, and then I turned to a product and I had some more people in my team, then establishing the company, etc., etc. So it's a long, long way. There were almost no revolution, lot of work, very busy, and unfortunately, it's getting more and more busy. So I think that the cybersecurity, evolution of cybersecurity and evolution of cyber threats, they reflect the evolution of all the cyber. So like 30 years ago, cyber was quite simple. We had some basic computers, there were no smartphones yet. There were cases, the mobile cases with like, if you remember. So there were computers, of course, the computer system, they were used in industrial environment, in ships navigation, some other areas, but that was just a basic. And there were almost no cybercrime. There were just some hooligans developing the different types of malware, but it's not about money. It was not about money because internet money didn't exist. So the online banking were introduced in early 2000. And that was the turning point of cyber criminals. So actually there was a rise of cyber criminals. And the old style cyber vandals, computer vandals, just hooligans who were writing just computer viruses for no profit, they disappeared. And I think it's thanks to online games. They are busy with online games. So they turned to online games and to cybercrime. And then there were more services introduced in cyberspace. There were more computer systems. There were smart mobile phones became smartphones. So the cybercrime migrated to this area. There are more and more services for people, not just financial services, but more government services. There is more data, critical data in the enterprise networks. So at the same time, the criminals, the hackers, they were also the evolution of the cybercrime. They got to the more professional levels. So now it's another turning point. I think that we are now facing the issues with industrial security, industrial cybersecurity, because we see more attacks and attempts to attack industrial systems, especially critical infrastructure, which is, well, the worst case scenario, actually. The cyber attacks with their with a very not easy attribution, so that could be just a cyber missile hit the infrastructure, so it's very hard to, sometimes it's very hard to recognize who is behind this attack, or it takes time. So now cybersecurity, well, cyber threats, they're getting more complicated. Well, let's start from the definition of the existing situation. Present situation is that the cyber is everywhere. Industrial Revolution 4.0 means that even the production and infrastructure and critical infrastructure will be connected to the networks. At the same time, the criminals, many of them are very professional and they're available, so one may rent them for service. And I'm afraid about whether we will face more and more worst-case scenarios, attacks on the critical infrastructure.
Okay. We're going to go deeper into some of this, but I wanted to get straight into one question that is on the minds of many people in the world today. As you've correctly pointed out, we see an increasing trend of attacks and even critical infrastructure and all these areas. My question is, when we look into the future, do we have a possibility of a more secure future? If yes, how? As a cybersecurity expert who is on the forefront of producing solutions today.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't finish to scare people. And you're asking me about how to make the peace and calm. Okay,
they're already scared enough.
I'm 30 years in the cybersecurity, so of course I have some little bit paranoia in what I'm speaking about, but because it's like a professional deformation, yeah, a little bit. So I'm like this. But at the same time, I'm optimistic. I think that we can find the way, we can find the solution for these problems. And I would like to explain it a little bit, maybe a little bit complicated way. So in the past, our dependence on the cyber, on the computer, smartphones, it was high, but now it's becoming even more. So in the past, we'll have security problems with individual devices, with computers, smartphones, with corporate networks, government networks. And we're okay with security solutions because the security for these systems is just to manage the risk. So it's not possible to guarantee 100% security. Anyway, it's possible to hack even very well protected systems. It's possible. But when you have a security solutions, it guarantees that you have some kind of insurance that it's not so easy to hack the network. So it could be some kind of the risk management. So you install the security solutions and, well, you train your employees, you have the penetration tests, you do many things, but it's about security. It's risk management. But now, when the cyber is everywhere, and when the cyber manages the infrastructure, critical infrastructure, and which is connected and vulnerable, unfortunately, the damage could be unpredictable. So, well, in the past, they were speaking about damage to the corporate enterprise networks or individual. We could estimate the damage. So you lose your data or there's attack on your bank account. So you can estimate the damage. Speaking about infrastructure, I'm afraid that there are scenarios when the damage is unpredictable. It will be the level of the national economy or national security or human lives. So in this case, security, it doesn't really work because it's not a risk management, because we can't estimate the risk. So I think that this is time we have to turn to definition of immunity. And my definition of immunity is that the cyber attack must cost more than possible damage. So the hackers, they have to pay more, invest more into the attack than possible profit. So in this case, I think that, well, for them, there's no reason to hack the victim. And is it possible to reach such a level of security when we can speak about immunity? I think yes, and we're working on these technologies, and now we do provide these immunity solutions for Internet of Things, for industrial sector. The difference between security and immunity is that security is based on traditional operating systems, like Microsoft Windows, Linux, any kind of Unix clones, Mac OS. So you have the system, you have applications, and you have a security application. On the top of that, monitoring what's going on in the system. In immunity, it's different. Security is in the middle of everything. So the security layer, secure operating system, is monitoring behavior of all the applications of every piece of the system. And only trusted behavior is allowed. So this is a difference, and sorry for being a little bit long. So this is a difference, and actually I'm not going to go too deep into the details, but for this architecture, for this immune system, we can estimate the cost of the attack, how much the bad guys have to invest to hack the system. The methods have to estimate the cost of the attack.
Well, thank you very much. I would like to, in a short moment, invite the audience to ask questions, but I wanted to ask this. As African countries today, in one respect, we have less systems deployed and critical infrastructure in transportation and others, which are depending on cyber. In the Western countries, they have much more systems, which are advanced, of course, and potentially more vulnerable to cyber attacks. What is your advice to African countries today, in a sense that we can take advantage of, one, the possible more secure future that you described in whatever we do today, and maybe turn what appears as a weakness of not being very advanced into an advantage as we plan how we deploy systems going into the future?
This is a very, very good question, and actually I think that their African countries, they have a lot of opportunities because they still need to develop many things to reach the necessary level you want to reach. In this case, actually, you can build the infrastructure, you can build the critical parts of that in an immune way. Because when you have, say, like the factory, the production, when it's working, it's very hard to make it immune. You can make it secure, but to make it immune, you have to redesign the systems from the scratch. So if you have the plans to develop your own system from zero, I think it's a very right time and very right idea to build them based on immune platforms. It's a lot of work to do, and actually I think that it's not this advice. The African countries, they have to find balance. What kind of technologies, resources you import, and how much you invest into your own education system, and to grow your own IT engineers and IT security engineers. And well, actually the situation is that there is no country in the world which has enough of IT security engineers. So if you ask for help, others will ask for, sorry, we don't have this. We have money, but we don't have brains enough to make this, to complete this task. So I will advise for African countries to invest more into their IT security education. Okay.
IT security education is the key. I want to see, by show of hands, people who want to ask questions. I still have a few more myself, but let's start in front here so that we don't keep the conversation between ourselves. Microphone up front. Thank you. Tell us your name, what you do, and the question.
Thank you. My name is Sergio Zagara. I'm the managing director of Dynamic Business Group. I'm also in business of security. We started in infrastructure, but now I have a quick question. It's like you can't have many personnel for security. It's like the more you create, it's like creating doctors, right? In cybersecurity, if you want to, if you want to have a lot of barriers in security in terms of IT, so you need to have more doctors, if I may call it that way. So like companies like us who are into into security, and we want to really help our country to develop more. What does your company has to offer if we are ready to invest in it and to bring more students to help them to get those facilities? What is your company ready to invest for so that we can work together?
So the company is doing business in the area. It's a company operating in Rwanda. They're in the business of cybersecurity solutions that they deploy for companies and organizations. And I think he's asking, what does a company like yourselves, global big company in cybersecurity, potentially how could you work with companies like the company he operates in terms of availing more manpower and actually improving capacity to deliver cybersecurity solutions in Africa?
So actually there are very different and quite, well, variable security products, services, trainings, and actually we are working with our partners globally, worldwide, and we have trainings for our partners, and we help them to build a business and to provide the product security solutions and expertise, security audits for the markets. So actually we are not just the antivirus company. In the past we were antivirus company. Now we do much more. So actually we provide a whole set of services, starting from the security audit, penetration test, helping to build their enterprise security strategy there, but to help this their national level projects. So we can do quite a lot. And actually that's called our local office. And are you from Rwanda? Okay, so we're opening the office now. So you need just contact our local people and to ask them about this.
So Kasperskys is going to be opening an office here in Rwanda, and one of the areas of concentration is actually building capacity and potentially partnering with companies like yourselves.
Yeah, and we are especially interested in companies which can be a partner for us in developing industrial security and immunity solutions.
I like the word immunity, because if we can be immune, when you're immune, even when the virus attacks you, nothing happens. That's what we really mean, and that's what we need. I've seen a hand, gender, let's see a lady at the back there. Was that a lady or a guy? The lights are quite bright, I can't differentiate, but anyway. And if there is a lady, you give the microphone next time.
Thank you so much. I'm a boy. I have a question. My name is Wazinya Safan. I'm a software developer, just a younger developer. So my question is, today we are using artificial intelligence and machine learning. So does Kaspersky using machine learning once when they are just avoiding those criminals or the things happening on the internet? So if they use machine learning, so I just want to know, do you access someone information once when he's using Kaspersky? Thank you so much.
So he's asking, there's an echo, unfortunately. So he's asking whether you're using machine learning in your systems, and he's also asking whether you access, the people who are using Kaspersky, whether you access their information to process and improve your solutions.
Okay, so there, actually we are working with a machine learning system for more than 10 years already, so we were developing, well, actually 14 years. I remember that 2005 we had the first meeting on the automatic processing for the incoming stuff, malicious code, incoming malicious code. So we have the system which are able to automatically analyze and detect about 99.999% of all the data which we collect. So it's automatic machine learning systems which are very good, maybe one of the best in the world, or maybe the best. So they guarantee that our products have such a high detection, very high protection level. So we're working on that, so that's good news. The bad news is that unfortunately we see that some criminal gangs we see their behavior and we see the technology they use. And I'm afraid some of the highly professional cyber criminals, they use some kind of machine learning as well. So that's the first question. Second question is about how do we collect, how do we see this information? We cooperate with other antivirus companies, so there's a network of also kind of partnership, so we exchange the information with others. We have our own automatic systems to browse the internet, to look for the dangerous places and collect data from there. But the main source of new malicious code is our customers and users. So if you connect to the cloud service, if you connect to our cloud service, and if we see the new malicious code on your device, on your computer, on your smartphone, so if you connect to the cloud, so we will automatically recognize so it's malicious, and we will immediately provide the protection. So well, actually, so that's the network of our happy customers. It's very, very big. So we see what's going on with malicious code everywhere around the world. So technically, it's look like this. So the criminals, they developed a new malware, they plant it on the web, then they send emails, for example, with links to infected URL, and then the people start to click these links, and we recognize that it's malicious, and we immediately provide the antidote. Sometimes it takes 1 to 3 minutes after the criminals planted to the web. Few minutes after that, our customers are protected.
So essentially, if you use Kaspersky's solution, every time it detects malicious code, it notifies Kaspersky so that they can give the antidote right away, so that you're protected. Can we have, maybe in the middle, I had seen a hand somewhere, or right here in front? And then we'll go to the one behind. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mizerua Emmanuel. I'm coming from Google Digital Skills. My question, it is about your business, because your business growth has a high stability. I'm asking, what strategies did you use in digital, in your marketing? What strategies you use to get a high search engine optimization? Thank you.
So all the time, the company strategy were to be focused on the technologies, and to make the main goal is guarantee the highest possible protection for our customers. So the company was developing the consumer individual security for years. Then we improved our B2B solution, enterprise security. Now we have industrial security as well. So I think that the company's strategy is to save the world, cyber world, or to build the safe world. So this is the goal of the company. And the strategy is to provide the best technologies and solutions, visibly the best, visibly better than others. So this is the way the company goes. So I think that the next growth opportunity is in industrial security.
Well, saving the cyber world.
But for this we need partners. We need companies which will partner us to provide our technologies and solutions to the customers.
Okay. Saving the cyber world, that's a big mission, because it expands every other day. It almost has no starting and end point. That's a very big mission to accomplish. There was yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Wilson. I work for the East African community, but I'm also very interested in cybersecurity. It's a very huge honor to be with you, Mr. Kaspersky, in the same room. Thank you so much. I have two questions. One, how has Kaspersky dealt with the recent criticisms, especially in America, that you use your antivirus software to spy on government networks? it would be good to know how much you've done to repair that reputation.
Yes.
That's one. Number two, you talked about IT security education. I want to have your take on how much weight you think people should give to cybersecurity certifications. There's a lot of debate on the weight of cybersecurity certifications. Thank you so much.
Okay, the first question is about the espionage tools. Well, it's reality. Unfortunately, there are nations in the world which are very active in cyber espionage. And it's not just United States. Well, actually, first of all, it's very hard to attribute who is behind these attacks. But as we know from WikiLeaks and from some other data leaked from the ACE agency, so there are some American agencies behind the cyber espionage. But there are also other nations in espionage, so we see the most active the espionage tools which speak native Russian, and they operate somewhere in a African time zone. Native Chinese, well, simplified Chinese, and they're not so active during the Chinese Golden Week. Again, it's not 100% attribution because it's very easy to falsificate that. But I think that this is three, English-speaking, Russian-speaking, and simplified Chinese-speaking. So the three most active players in cyber espionage. And then many other languages. Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, Arabic, Korean. So actually there are many nations they are in the espionage area. So how do we handle that? What we do with that? We detect them. We're looking for these tools, we disclose them, and we provide our protection, our solutions against these cyber espionage tools, the same as we do with cybercrime. Sorry. So we are one of the best, believe me, because we have this data. So we're one of the best in disclosing the espionage tool, and it doesn't matter which language this tool speaks. If speaks native English, we'll do it. If speaks native Russian, we'll do it. So it's just our job.
I wanted to extend on what he asked. He talked about U.S. accusing Kaspersky of potentially being used in espionage, and he was asking, what have you done in response to what the U.S. has been accusing you?
Well, actually, in a cyber world, there are technologies, so you can easily check these technologies. So in cyber world, there is truth and non-truth, binary, 1 and 0. 1 is truth, 0 is non-truth. So in a cyber world, if you think it's truth, please provide the proofs. It's technologies. Please show me the data, show me details. If you don't show the details, it's non-truth, it's 0. So all this acquisition is just bullshit. It's a fake stories.
I wanted to ask because during that time, I read in the media that you opened a center in Zurich in Switzerland. Why did you do that? What was the objective?
Well, actually, I think that, well, first of all, thanks to these acquisitions from United States, they made us to think how to improve our transparency, how to improve the trust. So we decided to open the Transparency Center in Zurich. Now actually we're opening the second one in Madrid. So we provide access to our source code, so please welcome. If you have any question, welcome. Source code, our procedures, our database, the update technologies, everything you want, you're welcome. And I think that in the future it will be a very high demand on such a service because we are turning to the Industrial Revolution 4.0 when the critical data, critical infrastructure will be connected to the internet. So in the cloud, we'll have not just individuals' data, not just personal data, but also the enterprise data and critical infrastructure, all is in the internet. So the nations or regions, they have to be sure that all the technologies they use, they have nothing wrong. Not even like a backdoors embedded, but no mistakes in the code. No options for the bad guys to misuse these technologies. And I think that the global vendors in software and hardware, it will be just a standard to have the transparency centers to let the trusted and respected states and enterprises to have access to these technologies and to audit it.
I think as far as I have read, Kaspersky is the only global security company that has subjected its code to third-party verification, meaning that customers can actually verify. And again, you said this was in response to the Americans' accusations. So even all other people, including yourself, if you're a customer, you can go and verify, make sure that everything is in order. I wanted to take one more question from the audience, and then we'll try and wrap up the session. Okay, we'll have, yeah, right here in front.
Thank you very much. My name is Kizito Nyoitimbi. I'm a student at Carnegie Mellon University, Africa. So thank you for the opportunity. I came in a little bit late, so forgive me if the question I asked has been asked before, but I have two questions. The first one is the recent attack that was discovered on the WhatsApp application, and this was reported on the 14th of May by BBC.com. So this attack was carried in such a way that the attackers ring the phone of the targeted victim and then install a spyware automatically, whether you answer it or you don't. And then after that, the logs are deleted. You don't see anything. So I want to ask, usually in the cybersecurity world, how do you cooperate as companies to make sure that such attacks that have been discovered in one system don't get leveraged in other systems? There are more other apps that may be vulnerable to this particular attack. The second question I want to ask is, as a cybersecurity student at Carnegie Mellon, one of the things we always look forward to is hearing from industry experts like yourself and learning from those who are currently doing so well in the industry, as we are the hope for the future experts in this industry. So what programs does Kaspersky have that may be of importance to students like myself, and how can I, as a student here in Africa, get involved? Thank you very much.
So the first one is about the recent vulnerability that was reported on WhatsApp, which attackers could leverage to plant spyware onto people's devices. You want to make a comment on that?
Well, my comment about this particular attack is that unfortunately it happens so many times a year. So it's just one more incident. So it's there. If you go to their web resources which report vulnerabilities, and they collect they build the database of vulnerabilities in operating system, in applications, in industrial hardware. Even in industrial hardware there are vulnerabilities, and so zero-day vulnerabilities found. So you may find a lot of them. So this is, I think it's nothing special. Yes, there was a trusted communication tool, but after this news, well...
And of course it's used by more than 1 billion people.
It happens. Yeah. And second question?
So the second question, so...
About students, yeah.
About students, what tools or platforms might you have that students could leverage, those who are interested in cybersecurity?
So we are working a lot with education programs, and we provide to universities, especially to technical universities, we provide them our cybersecurity education programs. So we cooperate with, I don't know how many universities around the world. We will be very happy to communicate, if we do it already here, or not yet. I'm asking my colleagues, they say not yet. So we are ready to start a partnership with local technical units and to provide this. And actually we do it, we do lots of this for free, so we just share our expertise, our knowledge with others. And simply because we need more IT security engineers.
Yes. So for the students, I think very soon we'll be working with the universities to make sure that we leverage the partnership the government of Rwanda has set up with Kaspersky. I have 1 minute 27 seconds to wrap up this session. I didn't have a lady asking a question. If there's any lady who wants to ask, I'll give a chance. Otherwise, I'll give Eugene an opportunity to make some final comments. Okay, we're doing badly with gender today. There is a lady here. Please, we give her a chance. We have to be gender sensitive.
Thank you. My name is Aline, and I'm interested in digital identity. My question is a bit different. It's not very technical. It's about sharing with us your secret for success, like especially for young people who are targeting technology, cybersecurity, business. What is your secret? What would be your advice for us? Thank you.
So my secret is very simple. First of all, you need to find the business which you not just like to do, but you make it as your life. So you stay with what you do, you have to stay there, you have to live there, you have to sleep there. So you have to 100% in this business. Then you need to find right people to help you and to be the leader, to make these people to follow you. Then you will have to work very hard for years. In 90s, from 92 till 98, I was working as crazy, like 12, 14 hours a day, with sometimes with no weekends, some years with no holidays, so I was just working. My little kids, they called me father at work, one word. Because I was waking up, they were sleeping. I came back from the office, back home, they were sleeping. So they didn't see me sometimes for days. So to work hard is one of the secrets. And you have to have some piece of luck. I was lucky in some situations. So you need to find the business technology, the project, which you are in, 100% in. Second, to build the team, work hard, and good luck.
And absolutely ride on whatever trends and developments are happening. I know that, for example, you set up your company in the first few years of internet, going global. And of course, as threats increased, that was a great opportunity. I wanted to ask you if you have one final thought, comment in terms of the global trend in cybersecurity and the people in the room. What is the next big thing you're going to be working on in cybersecurity? And then final thoughts as we close.
So what we are working on and what is our next future is introducing the cybersecurity, cyber immunity in the most critical systems. It's not only about the industrial system, not just infrastructure, but it's also the government services, online election. By the way, we have the online election based on blockchain. So it's safe, secure, transparent. So we are going to work more with other issues in cybersecurity, but we're going to stay in the cyber and in software, not at the moment in hardware. So this is our plans. And well, actually, cybersecurity it's a crazy industry. It's a technologies, it's internet, and it's crime all together. Fighting with cyber criminals. So we don't need to read detective stories. In many cases, we live in detective stories. So we assist cyber police to investigate the cases. So cybersecurity is absolutely, it's a very, very interesting business, and we're looking for more companies in this business, and we're looking for more partners. Okay, and thank you so much for your questions. Patrick, thank you so much for inviting me here. And you have more questions, so my contacts are very simple. My email address is very simple. It's eugene@kaspersky.com. easy to remember. My blog is at eugene.kaspersky.com. I have the Facebook, Instagram, and other very active social media. And there are pictures from Rwanda.
Yes.
Already there.
You're visiting the gorillas already.
Yes.
Excellent. I really look forward to the future of having immune systems. I really look forward to that. I thank you very much. This was a great conversation. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And thank you very much. This is the end of the session. Have a great evening.